talked about the ZR1 in this episode yet, and they have already come out with the ZR1X, or at least revealed it. Because the ZR1 is a 2025 model. ZR1X is 2026.
Yeah.
So they've already revealed the ZR1X, the Zora, what's been rumored for...
Zora would have been so much a better name. It would have been way better.
The ZR1 is not exactly a slouch. It already makes over 1,000 horsepower from the largest twin turbos ever fitted to a V8, maybe even a production car. And it's not just any V8, it's their LT7, which is a reworked LT6 5.5-liter flat plane crank, which is a phenomenal engine. It's what they put in the Z06. And
Right.
It sounds literally like a Ferrari.
That engine, that LT6 and the LT7, they're actually both referred to as the Gemini project at GM because they're twins.
If I'm not mistaken, they did make some upgrades between the LT6 and LT7.
Yes, but they were like co-designed. GM made a really big point. Their engineers that are talking to Savage Geese is where I saw this. They made a really big point to say, like, these are twin engines. They are broadly the same. The LT6 is not a lesser engine.
And overbuilt.
The LT6 is an overbuilt engine. The LT7 is not a stressed LT6.
I'll get to this in a second, but the Corvette team has been a phenomenal example of just having your storyline planned from the beginning and executing it to perfection. Like a difference between a show where the showrunners didn't know they were going to have a second season and have to come up with something every season to keep people watching, and then a show that the writers knew everything that was going to happen from the very beginning and just make a banger every single episode and just deliver and create this beautiful arc that was planned from the beginning. You can tell when you're watching those two types of shows. And the Corvette is the latter one.
An example of the second would be a Breaking Bad. An example of the first would be a Game of Thrones.
Exactly. That Corvette instrument cluster, that huge area between the driver and passenger, that was mostly empty. And it was because they knew all the way back then when they were designing the C8 that they were going to put all of the electrical components in there for the eventual E-Ray. They knew back then they would do an electric version. They'd have motors in the front. They would need room for the batteries and electrical components. And they knew then they were going to make a twin turbocharged V8, and that would be based on a flat plane, and they'd need to make a flat plane that they can then scale up to twin turbo, and they would eventually combine the lessons learned from the E-Ray and the Z06 and ZR1 and combine those into like a final product. They knew all of it from the beginning. And you can tell. It's like the people on the Corvette team work at a completely different company than the other products that Chevy sells.
Yeah, you can, and you don't have to say Chevrolet. Corvette has made itself a brand.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You make a great point. They absolutely planned this out. Follow-up point about execution it's been amazing to watch. The one thing that Savage Geese found out from one of the engineers on the ZR1X, he did mention that on their quarter-mile runs that they had a point at which they had to disconnect the electric motors. Well, you combine that with the fact that we know from the E-Ray that they disconnect at 150, that means that we're not hitting 140-something. We're cresting well over 150 for the trap speed in the ZR1X.
The Demon 170, if you get a perfect of all perfect launches, can do 151 trap speed in the quarter mile.
The Demon 170, yeah, but the Demon is like 132 or something. It's like low 130s.
But the Demon 170, as cool as it is the definition of a one-trick pony. It's meant for one thing.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like the ZR1X will go toe-to-toe with it and is supposedly going to be an absolute track monster.
It's going to suffer from its own success. No regular person without 20 years of professional driving experience
is going to touch the potential of that thing.
You won't even get close to challenging the abilities of that vehicle. But it goes back to what I always say, which is it's more fun to drive slow car fast than a fast car slow. It's a common car guy adage, than being afraid of the right pedal, which is what it would be in the ZR1 or ZR1X.
Yeah, if you're testing the limits of the ZR1X, you are doing some life or death things.
Oh, yeah. That's another good point.
It has 1,250 horsepower, almost 200 horsepower on the ZR1, which comes entirely from the E all-wheel drive system, which is two motors in the front which it makes sense they disconnected at 150 miles an hour because that's where you need them at the low speed, low RPM end of the spectrum. It's got a sub 2 second 0 to 60. They haven't given exact numbers yet, and a sub 9 second quarter mile, which is Demon 170 territory. We'll see once they're done with their testing what the official numbers are.
So yeah, the ZR1 is a monster already. I can't even imagine what the ZR1X is going to do.
It was already setting track records left and right at just, and I say just, with quotes, $250,000.
So much more.
It undercuts the Mustang GTD by a cool $100,000.
But at that point, you're not buying a performance vehicle. You're buying a rare item.
The GTD is cool in its own right, but it's hard to justify the price in a world where the ZR1 and ZR1X exist. But Chevy has said openly in the last few days, the ZR1X is not the end of the line for the C8.
What?
They're not done
Really?
with the C8 yet. Really?
What else could
I don't know what that means.
What else could they put? Are they going to put rockets on it? What are they going to do?
I don't know. But supposedly, according to Chevy, the ZR1X is not the end of the C8 line.
So is the Zora going to be above the ZR1X? Is it going to be called the Zora?
Maybe this is probably complete sacrilege here. Maybe it's completely electric.
Yeah, it would have a lower top speed. It would be...
No, I don't think they would do that. It caused enough hoopla just to move the engine to the back.
Yeah, no.
Supposedly, Corvette's got more potential with the C8. Who knows?